Hello, this is Bishop Garland Hunt, and this is the Power of Hope devotional. Listen, I don't know when you get this message, but right now I'm taping it during Black History Month. And I want to just take some time to talk a little bit about racial issues because they're real. They're real no matter where you are. It's a very real issue. And some people say, well, I was talking to a mostly white audience earlier as a Black History Month program. And I said, it's good that we're having a Black History Month. And I said, but some of you may have asked the question, well, why do we have Black History? Why don't we have White History Month? I understand, because sometimes it gets a little confusing. Why do you do that? But Carter G. Woodson, back in, I think it was back in 1926 maybe, he established Negro History Week, but it was to celebrate what was called Negro history at that time. And later on it was Black History Week, and then it became Black History Month. It's just, some people bring it up saying it would happen to be the shortest month in the whole year. But anyway you look at it, it's still an opportunity to talk about celebrating some of the achievements of Black history. But even if you look at the nation of America, there have been some challenges as it relates to racial history. So I just want to be real clear. And let me just say this to you. I'm not one of these that want to try to burn America down and America's so bad. And no, I think we're in a great nation. We live in a great nation, and there's nowhere else I want to be. There's no other nation I want to live. I love being the fact that I'm American, and I'm proud of my American history. But also, I'm willing to say, though, that there's a Black history also that within the context of American history. So we're Black Americans, but there's a certain culture, there's a certain journey that as Black Americans we had to go through. So there's one particular thing I want to talk about that many people don't hear about. We want to celebrate the achievement of Blacks. One of the greatest achievements was called, and I don't know if you ever heard of this, Black Wall Street. Have you heard of Black Wall Street? And I said, well, wow, now I heard of Wall Street in New York. What are you talking about, Black Wall Street? There, actually, in the early 1920s, there was a area in Greenwood, Tulsa area, Tulsa, Oklahoma area, and it was called the Greenwood District. And this was a whole area of Black businesses. And I just want to give you actually how prominent it was. It was very, very prominent. It was probably one of the greatest achievements of Blacks in the nation early, especially back in the 1920s. And everyone came together. People had traveled. Of course, Blacks were in the South. They'd travel south and go westward. They'd come to Tulsa. And for whatever reason, Tulsa was a place there. Of course, a lot of oil industry was going on. And it was a very prosperous time for Blacks. And Blacks were achieving during that time. And so, as a matter of fact, can I read this to you? North Tulsa, before when we talk about this riot that took place in Tulsa, which is a terrible thing, but I want to talk about what was going on in Tulsa. There was a population of about 11,000 primary Black Americans that there, 11,000 in this area. Now, listen to this. The Black Americans were doctors, lawyers, PhDs, wealthy businessmen. Listen, 21 churches in this Greenwood area, 2 newspapers, Black newspapers, 212 Black restaurants. You heard me right. 212 Black restaurants, 2 movie theaters, hotel, and approximately 400 businesses. All this was in this Greenwood area, tremendous area there, and it was celebrated worldwide because no other place had there been that much achievement of Black professionalism, Black businesses, Black academicians, Black PhDs and lawyers and doctors. I mean, all of them congregated in this particular Greenwood district, which is a highly celebrated area. But then, on the other hand, my time, I'm going to be a little longer if you don't mind today. But then there was a race riot that took place in 1921, and the whole place was burned down. All of it. It was all burned down to the ground because one guy was accused that while he was in his elevator, it was a white woman. In the little bit of time, he accosted this woman, which was not true. He was later on, it was identified that accusations were not true. but it caused white folk to come out. They came out with their rifles because they wanted to lynch him. The black people in that area also had guns. They said, well, hold on, we're going to protect our guy because it's not true. So they came out, and as you would know, it started, and it was a racial riot there. And the whites, of course, they beat down the blacks, and then they even had airplanes. They came and bombed this area. They bombed the area, burned it down with fire. They killed people. You know what happens is more than 1,000 homes and businesses were destroyed. Over 1,000 homes and businesses destroyed. Many churches were burned down. Up to 300 people killed. And actually, it wasn't even identified in the history books for a long time. But these people actually were killed and dumped over into this mass grave. Many of them were dumped over into a mass grave, never to be seen again because they were killed by the whites in that area because of some unsubstantiated accusation. So what I'm saying to you is that black achievement is there, but there are also major things that we have to face in our nation that has overcome some of the black achievement. So as we talk about black history, I'm going to talk to you next time about racial reconciliation, racial healing, because I want to talk to you about how we need to come together, and no other better time to come together while we're talking about things related to race relations. This is Bishop Garland Hunt. This is the Power of Hope devotional. I'll talk to you next time.